Sister Sajdah Muhammad. We are proud to announce that the Sajdah House commemorative Elijah coins are finally here. As we renovate and restore the former home of the most honorable Elijah Muhammad, we have recycled the old copper gutters and downspouts and created a 1-ounce 39mm coin made of 100% pure copper. Each coin is professionally graded and has its own barcode and registration number. This priceless heirloom, made from recycled copper from the messenger's home, is now available at sajdahhouse.com.
You belong to yourself. You're an independent people, created from the nation of free people.
Yes, sir.
You don't need to go nowhere but to yourself.
Yes,
So the challenge is an education that enlivens us to do business. Business is the activity of life itself. Every creature is born with the inherent ability to attract out of this material earth what it needs to perpetuate its species.
Greetings, family. Ramadan Mubarak. I hope everyone is doing well. Thank you and welcome to the MOEToday series on manifestation. I am your host, Sajdah Wendy Muhammad. Welcome to week 15 of the MOEToday, or the Mind of an Entrepreneur Today series on manifestation, based upon the book written by Charles F. Hannell called The Master Key System. So if you're following along with us, you should be on part 15. And we've been going through the series pretty diligently. We've changed up the format a few times. We usually talk about something that's really pressing, that comes to me spiritually. And sometimes we go through all the questions, but this is a great way to guide you through a tool that will help us to get closer to our goals. So this series is an extension of my brand, The Mind of an Entrepreneur, or MOEToday for short. I developed this series back in 2011 and made it a part of my weekly radio broadcast. It became the foundation for the second half of the Mind of an Entrepreneur book. And so instead of publishing it as a book, I decided to recreate the series. So the Mind of an Entrepreneur brand of products and services explores mental strategies and offers free game on how to navigate the world of business. I offer a unique approach to business that combines traditional disciplines with consciousness. I'm an international businesswoman, an industry disruptor, a global thought leader, philanthropist, master business and real estate developer. You name it, I love to create. I'm an artist and business is my canvas. So thank you for being here this evening. I'm excited that you decided to take this journey with me. I love self-improvement. I love everything, all things self-improvement. I love all things that help us to go deeper inside of ourselves, help us to go into the nature of ourselves and study ourselves. I love going to the root of problems. I love creating, and I love that whole spirit of revelation. Because we talked last week about how revelation meets you where you are. And each of us receives our own level of revelation when we learn to extend ourselves beyond our intellectual capacity. So welcome, Sister 19, Sister Aletha, welcome you all. Thank you. We're going to do something. So speaking of struggle, I posted this video this week that I want you all to check out, because we're going to talk about this a little bit. And the reason why I want to talk about it is because, you all DM me and you send me emails and you talk about what's going on in your businesses and what you want. And soon we're going to have a television show where we're going to come out and talk to you about it. But you all talk to me about it, and I love it. So, I'm not complaining. But I start to notice certain themes where everybody will kind of be saying the same thing, or they'll have like the same root problem. And one of the things that a lot of people have been saying lately is about feeling marginalized. And you all know I talk a lot about marginalization in my book. And so I just I saw this clip, and the clip touched me because some of the things the sister's saying in the clip have definitely happened to me, and continue to happen, and they will continue to happen to you as long as you are marginalized. Now, what does that really, really mean? We're going to dig into that, but check this out. As long as you're doing something where you're out over your skis, you're beyond your intellectual capacity, you're going to be marginalized. You're not going to be in the in crowd, because the in crowd, they're following what's in. They're all flowing in the same direction. If you're taking a different approach to life, or a different approach to a situation, or you've been given an assignment that is bigger than what maybe the average person gets, or whatever, or it's different from what somebody else has, you're going to find yourself marginalized. So we got to be okay with that. But every once in a while, we just need to hear it out a little bit and talk about it. And all of you all, when you DM me, you say, I'm sorry, I know it's Ramadan, but life is real. And so it's all about just kind of helping us to flow through this during Ramadan and beyond, because during Ramadan, we want to find a way to reset ourselves spiritually, reset our bodies, and turn us more towards Allah on a regular basis. It's a good practice, if you're a Muslim or not, to work on being in that space where you can rely on Allah, ask for forgiveness, be grateful, and see Him everywhere. So anyway, let me play this clip.
They talked about me, gossiped about me, slandered me, and it still didn't change what God was going to do through me. That's crazy.
Say something in the chat if you can relate to that. It's a struggle, right? And I posted this week because it was something that I was feeling. I came across it. Somebody sent it to me, and I said, I'm feeling that. Because at the end of the day, sometimes we get so upset over what people are saying about us and how they make us feel and different things that they're doing to us. And we don't realize that at the end of the day, they can't stop what Allah got for you. And so that's why I posted it. And, I created this whole Mind of an Entrepreneur brand for marginalized people around the world. Marginalized just means that you are not in the center. By definition, it is a person, a group, or a concept treated as insignificant or peripheral. And a lot of us take issue with being marginalized. In fact, it can be downright painful if the people who marginalize you are loved ones, or if you love being in the inner circle more than you love yourself, or if not being in that inner circle deprives you of something that you need to take care of yourself or your family. But what I'm here to say is that there's always another solution. There's always something else. We shouldn't worry. You don't know enough to worry, because something can always happen that you know nothing about. Can somebody put that in the chat? You don't know enough to be worried. Something can always happen that you know nothing about. So you want to lean on your faith. And so even if you're being marginalized, even if you're being kept out or pushed out or made fun of because you're different, it's okay. You don't have to worry. Something can always happen that you know nothing about. So I embraced the concept of marginalization really very early in life. And then I started to develop mental strategies around it that I started to share with the world in 2009 when I created this brand. You see, I have been pretty much marginalized my entire life. That's the the real truth of the fact. I wasn't an it girl in school. I was reading at 4 years old, and I had four eyes, and I was eclectic, and I got good grades, and I was a brainiac, and all I cared about was music and school. And I hung out with my family, mainly my parents and my grandmother. And I played the flute and sang and listened to music and read the hymnals and talked about Jesus with my grandmother. I didn't really care about a lot else. And I remember when I turned 12 years old, it was either 12 or 13, might be 13. My mother was trying to socialize me a little bit. And so she put together this slumber party for my birthday. And I wasn't a party girl. I wasn't a cool kid. I didn't have anyone to invite. So she invited all her friends' daughters. So the daughters of her friends. I was like, okay. I didn't care about what other people were doing. So I just wasn't in the in crowd, and I didn't care. Now, my brother, on the other hand, he was a social butterfly. He was fly. He was sharp. He was popular. Everybody knew him. He always had a smile and people around him. And then when I went to college, I was marginalized even more because I didn't fit in with the other Black students who were from like major cities like Chicago and, Kansas City and big cities. So I also didn't get the grants and the work study jobs and all the programmatic support that they received. I had to go work at Burger King and tutor for the foreign cultures department. But I ain't mad about that either. So I went to work then later after I graduated in a predominantly white company in a field where people like me were underrepresented. And then I had the nerve to become a Muslim, more marginalization. Then I had the nerve to continue practicing Islam and loving everything about it, more marginalization. I started looking at patterns where I always seemed to have some challenge or some endeavor that was different or unique. And I was like, this is kind of how Allah communicates with me. He puts me in different situations. He puts me in unique situations. He gives me different things to do, something where I have to pull on him to get it done. And I said, I bet I'm not alone. I could go on and on, but that's how he made me. And I embraced marginalization because it made me strong and creative and fierce and focused. And that's my story. But some of us are marginalized and have not embraced it. The lack of attention or not being in the in crowd bothers us. Our whole life is oftentimes based on getting that pat on the back from somebody that we think is the center or the nucleus of the universe, if you will. We're doing things to impress people. And then when they don't pay attention to us or they turn their head or act like we don't exist, then that rejection takes away our zest for life. Oftentimes we're not happy if the in crowd rejects us. That's when they threaten to cancel us. We start altering our behavior so that we can fit in. We worry obsessively about what people say about us. And I'm not saying that, let me say this. I'm not saying that you got to always put your business out in the street so everybody can see it and know it and react to it. When I'm in the business world and I'm in the corporate world, I'm very private about my spiritual life. I'm very private about my personal life. And if they are good observers or they pay attention, they can see certain things. But especially my personal life, I'm very private about that. And I just believe that people should be very private about their personal life. People shouldn't be all up in your business, and you shouldn't be telling everybody all your business. So I'm not talking about being excessively expressive about what's going on in your life. There's a certain decorum that comes with keeping your business to yourself. That's just how I was raised. In my house, you got in trouble for telling business that was happening in the house. In fact, a lot of us talk about other people more than we talk about ourselves or anything else. A lot of us even think about other people more than we think about ourselves and our own goals. You see, at the end of the day, you have to know that you are loved. Know that you are loved. Put that in the chat, please. I am loved. God loves you. Allah loves you. Jehovah loves you. Yahweh loves you. The universe loves you. Whatever word you want to choose, but you are loved. You have to rest on that. You got to rest on that and let that just settle on your heart. And let that be almost your solution to just about any and everything. When I'm thinking through something, I said, I know one thing. At the end of the day, God loves me and I love him. You have to seek refuge in that. God showed up on the planet as you. Think about that. You are the embodiment of Allah himself. He intentionally chose to create you as his form of expression. Your value is based on the one who gave you life, not on anything or anyone else. And because you are still here and still breathing, and God has not left you alone, means that you mean something to him. And Allah loves you more than you can even calculate. Put that in the chat. Allah loves me more than I can even calculate. You can't thank him enough for all the things he has done for you and continues to do for you. You can't be grateful enough to measure up to everything that he has done for you. So that's why I say prayer and gratitude, that's for us. It's so that we can remove the obstacles and the blocks inside of us that prevent us from lining up with his glory. You don't have enough money to purchase his love or enough good looks and charm to attract his love. He is always there. He made you. And so those prayers are for you so that we can remove whatever blockages are inside of us that prevent us from worshiping him fully. So when we get a little squirmish about people who treat us wrong, who slander us, who do things in a certain way, remember who you belong to. Listen, you've been tested, tempted, troubled, and bothered, but with God by your side, there is nothing you can't do. I was reading a hadith from Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, and I came across this. Let me read this to you from this hadith. He said, be mindful of Allah, and he will take care of you. Be mindful of Allah, and you shall find him at your side. If you ask of Allah. If you seek help from Allah. Know that if the whole world were to gather together to benefit you, they would not be able to benefit you except with that which Allah has already prescribed for you. And if the whole world were to gather together to harm you, they would not be able to harm you except with that which Allah has already prescribed for you. The pens have been lifted and the pages are dry. I then read in another book, The Secrets of Divine Love, which I just finished, and I read this statement. Allah has written a perfect love story between you and him. Everything you face, every mountain you summit, every sea you cross, and every desert you walk through was put in front of you as a means for you to get to know yourself and your Lord. Every pleasure and every pain, every success and every failure, every up and every down is from Allah. Everything you witness is calling for you to return to him. So next time somebody slanders you or misunderstands you or treats you a certain kind of way, just know that Allah loves you. He loves you so much. He has never forsaken you, and he never will. Don't let these people get you down. Keep your head up. Remember to keep going. I don't care if you make a mistake. Remember, we always begin and continue. Let's put that in the chat. Never forget to begin and continue. We're going to keep going. We're going to get up. We're going to dust ourselves off. See, because if you persevere, you'll be the winner. He loves you so much, and has never forsaken you. Do not let anything or anyone get you down. Remember, Allah is in charge. Never forget that. He has something specific for you to do. So work on yourself, do the work, put in the spiritual labor, so you can go about the business of doing what you showed up on this planet to do. Remember to begin and to continue. All right, so what we're going to do with part 15, we're going to run through the questions and answers. I'm going to refrain from elaborating excessively on all the answers tonight, only because I just taught a webinar right before this one on financial fitness. And I'm working on a little bit of a scratchy throat, and it's not time for me to drink water yet. So I'm over here calling on Allah about this throat that I got that's on fire. And I didn't meal prep. I ran out of my meal prep stuff. Usually I meal prep like on Sunday or Monday. And then throughout the week, I have a few things to choose from and a few combinations. But I don't know what I was thinking. I got to make something. I got to actually cook. So we're not going to keep you, because I don't want you all to be too long after the sun goes down as well. So anyway, we're going to start with number 141. And this is part 15. So the questions are in consecutive order. And the first Q&A from this part 15 of the Master Key System, written by Charles F. Hannell. This is just a manifestation tool that we're using in the MOEToday series on manifestation. And one of the things I hope you're getting out of this is learning that manifestation is an energy. It's an energy that begins with your thoughts. Manifestation is a byproduct of execution. So if you can't execute, if you can't make stuff happen, then when it comes to being a leader and a business person, you're going to be challenged, okay? Because in business, you're only really as good as what you can make happen. Otherwise, you might just be an administrator. Nothing wrong with that. But real business people know how to make stuff happen. We know how to take ideas and bring it right into fruition. And so some of these exercises that we've been going through these past 15 parts have helped us with our mindset, so that we create the right mental condition to be able to get what we want. And remember, one of the things that we always remember to do is to make sure that we set the mental condition of what we want first. So we have a goal and we say, how will I feel when I reach that goal? I want such and such, so-and-so. How will I feel? What is my experience going to be like with that in my life? How do I feel? And so we go there and we zone in on that emotional experience and that high and that feeling, and we chase that. So we create the mental condition first. All right, so 141 says, what determines the degree of harmony which we attain? And so if you've been reading in this particular chapter, actually, I think the last 2 or 3, the author talks a lot about creating harmony. And we went into the space that exists between notes that form a melody or a harmony. And so you got to go back and check out the past episodes to learn about that. But the answer to this question is, it's our ability to appropriate what we require for our growth from each experience. So remember, in our exercises, not only are we going about in the mindset, I think it's called the Ihsan mindset of looking for Allah in everything, then in every experience, we're looking for Him. We're looking for the lesson. We're looking for the opportunity to grow. And this is how we help to create that harmony in our life that the author is talking about. Number 142, what do difficulties and obstacles indicate? So when we go through things, when we stumble, when we fall, when we have an obstacle, when there seems to be a long pause between the momentous events in our project or in our lives, those difficulties, what do they indicate? They indicate that they are necessary for our wisdom and spiritual growth. See, remember that struggle in the Holy Quran teaches us that struggle is ordained. And I used to wrestle with that, man. And until one day, it's like a light bulb went off. And I said, oh, the struggle or the contrast or the trial is so that I can figure out who I am. And I can then attract what it is that I want. I can grow through this. So the pain comes from resisting it. I don't want it. I can't stand it. But when we submit, when we humble ourselves, when we say, where's Allah in this? Where's the lesson? That's when we start to go, oh, okay. And so one of the ways to stop going through that struggle is to go inside. Go inside of yourself and say, who do I need to become? Who am I? How can I do a better job? Allah, I know you're here because I know you will never forsake me. I know you're not going anywhere. I know you're here. So what do I need to do to hear more clearly, to see more clearly, to understand more clearly, to move in a way that allows me to see you and feel you, because he's the constant. All right. Number 143, okay, is how may these difficulties be avoided? The answer is by a conscious understanding of and cooperation of natural laws. And we talked 2 or 3 classes ago about how to respect natural laws to avoid difficulties. Something real simple. You know, gravity is a natural law. So you might not want to jump out that window because the difficulty of broken bones is quite challenging. Oh, okay. 144. What is the principle by which thought manifests itself in form? What is the principle by which thought manifests itself into form, right? So how do you take something from an idea or a thought into the actual real thing? You say, I think I want this, and then you got it. I think I'm going to do this, and then you do it, and there's something tangible. That process is what they call the law of attraction. And so that's why we started off in class number 1 with a quote from our beloved minister on thought and the power of thought. We talked about thought being spiritual energy. So go back and check those out so that you understand how thought manifests into form. Number 145, how is the necessary material secured by which the growth, development, and maturity of the idea take form? The answer is the law of love, which is the creative principle of the universe, imparts vitality to the thought, and the law of attraction brings the necessary substance by the law of growth. That's powerful. Let's break that down just a little bit, because I want you to go study this. The law of love, he said the law of love is the creative principle of the universe. It imparts vitality to the thought. I don't know if you all remember, we talked a few weeks ago, about vitality, how you take the thought and how you give energy to the thought. How do you make it come alive? Well, using the law of love. The law of love is a vibration. So that vibration, that frequency, that love, that creativity is what makes that thought come alive. And then the law of attraction brings the necessary substance by the law of growth. So you got this thought, you give it vitality, it starts to attract other thoughts and other things, and then the law of growth takes over. Very powerful. I want you all to think about that. Okay. How are, number 146 says, how are desirable conditions secured? And the answer is by entertaining desirable thoughts only. This is really tough, because so many thoughts pop up. But one of the things that I try to do is I try to be really aware of my thoughts. I try to really focus on what it is that I want and create that mental condition and stay aware and stay alert. That way, I can catch myself if I start to move and go down a path of having thoughts that I don't necessarily want, or creating scenarios in my head about stuff that then I'm reacting to emotionally or making choices about, and maybe it never even really happened. Also doing things like checking in with myself. So in addition to prayers throughout the day, just checking in with myself, saying, how you doing? You good? You all right? You got this? But just checking in with myself, because you may get off a phone call and maybe that phone call was a little alarming, or maybe that conversation was a little, scary. And so it's important that you check in with yourself and say, how am I feeling? Am I feeling afraid? Am I feeling fearful? Because what you don't want is to send yourself into fight or flight, start redirecting that blood flow to your muscles and letting your body think that it has to jump and run and fight and get away. Because then when you're thinking about, then when you realize that you're not reaching your goal, a lot of that is because you might be spending a little too much time in fight or flight or in worry. So number 147 says, how are undesirable conditions brought about? And the answer is by thinking, discussing, and visualizing conditions of lack, limitation, disease, inharmony, and discord of every kind. This mental photography of erroneous conceptions is taken up by the subconscious, and the law of attraction will inevitably crystallize it into objective form. That we reap what we sow is scientifically exact. That's exactly what I was talking about. One of the things that an example I like to give you, because a lot of people think that they don't control their body, is like if you're dreaming. Type in the chat if you've ever had a dream where you've been chased or you running down the street. Let me know in the chat. And then once you type that, tell me how you felt. Was your heart racing? Were you sweating? Your legs might have been hurting. You might have had a headache, but you were running. And then you woke up. And when you woke up, what were you doing? Sweating. Heart was racing. Maybe even crying. But you're in your bed. Ain't nobody chasing you. Your mind created that. That's what he means by mental photography. Once your mind had that mental photography or that mental movie playing in your head, or it began to string together thoughts and it played that in your head, your body started to react to that. And if you didn't come up out of it and realize you were in your bed, you might, and sometimes people still do, react to that as if it really happened. So that's an idea of how you can control your mind using your thoughts, because your body reacts to whatever you tell it, whether you tell it subconsciously in a dream, you tell it to do something, or whether you tell it consciously while you're awake, like we're here right now. So be mindful of the conversations that you have with yourself. There's information on that even in our study guides about your conversations with yourself. Number 148, the author asks, how can we overcome every kind of fear, lack, limitation, poverty, and discord? And the answer is by substituting principle for error. This is so powerful because it makes me think about our supreme wisdom that we learn in the Nation of Islam, and the principles that we're taught to stand on, and the conduct and the way in which we're taught to handle ourselves and manage ourselves. It speaks right into that, because what it does is it helps us to overcome the fear and the lack and the limitations and the discord and even the poverty, because now we've substituted principles for error, because the way we were thinking prior to that was error. The way we were eating prior to that may have been in error. The way we were handling our interpersonal relationships were in error, until we got a hold of this supreme wisdom and we substituted and we swapped principle for error. Number 149, how may we recognize principle? And the author says, by a conscious realization of the fact that truth invariably destroys error. So we just talked about that supreme wisdom, that truth destroys the errors in your life. We do not have to laboriously shovel the darkness out. All that is necessary is to turn on the light. The same principle applies to every form of negative thought. Number 150, what is the value of insight? And the answer is, it enables us to understand the value of making application of the knowledge which we gain. Many seem to think that knowledge will automatically apply itself, which is by no means true. I got a class on here about learning to apply knowledge, because you can study, you can memorize. I know people that just have boatloads of information. They're like encyclopedias, but their ability to apply that knowledge is limited. And so you'll see that very smart person, that very person that seems so knowledgeable, not be able to execute and manifest what it is that they want out of life. And oftentimes it's because we don't understand that knowledge won't apply itself automatically. You have to learn to apply knowledge. Okay. How many people took that course on the application of knowledge? All right. So then here's the last thing. The author always gives us an exercise every week. It usually involves some form of visualization, some form of meditation. And it's a great tool because it helps us to go inside of ourselves and quiet our minds. And so here's the one that he gave us for this week. He says, for your exercise this week, concentrate on insight. Take your accustomed position. So go to your chair, wherever you meditate, wherever you get quiet, and focus the thought on the fact that to have a knowledge of the creative power of thought does not mean to possess the art of thinking. Let that thought dwell on the fact that knowledge does not apply itself, that our actions are governed by knowledge, are not governed by knowledge, but by custom or habits. This is so important, because a lot of us think, well, I went to school, I know all of this stuff, I memorize all of this, I know the whole Bible back and forth, so I got knowledge, but knowledge does not apply itself. And this is what the author wants us to concentrate on today. Understanding that our actions are not governed by knowledge, but by custom or habits. Very powerful. That the only way we can get ourselves to apply knowledge is by a determined conscious effort. Call to mind the fact that knowledge unused passes from the mind, that the value of the information is in the application of the principle. Continue this line of thought until you gain sufficient insight to formulate a definite program for applying this principle to your own particular problem. All right, y'all. I hope you got something out of part 15 this week. Let me know in the chat. Give me some quick feedback before we sign off. And I can read it. I see somebody talking. You guys are still talking about the dream. Give me some feedback. Let me know what you thought about part 15 this week. I hope it was very practical. And while you're writing that in the chat, I want to remind you all to support the renovation and restoration of the home of the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, go to sajdahhouse.com and support the renovation and restoration. Get your commemorative Elijah coin. We're going to have a really fun fundraiser coming up on May 20th. So stay tuned for that. In the meanwhile, what I really want is for us to be sold out of these coins. So if you already got your coin, tell somebody else. If everybody on here will go tell 10 people to go to the website and buy a coin, it will really help us with this powerful restoration. And we are now on the National Registry of Historic Places. Okay, so tell me, give me your feedback. Let me know what you all think. What are you thinking in the chat? Remember not to chip and dip me. So do this for me. Go to the Sajdah House website, sajdahhouse.com. Get your commemorative coin. It's only $500. I know y'all got $500 because y'all be spending it. I see y'all online buying stuff and using stuff. And if you don't have it, say a prayer for us. You can donate a smaller amount via Cash App right here, $MOEToday. You can do that. If you don't have $500 for a coin, you can put in $100, $200 on the Cash App and make a donation, and stay tuned. Make sure you like and subscribe to the page so that you get alerts when we upload. Make sure you're following on the other social media platforms. And the easiest thing to do is join the Sajdah Circle of Winners. That's my my SMS database, and I'll keep you up to date on everything we have going on, some of the events. We're going to try to live stream the fundraiser for those of you who aren't in the city. I think that'll be a lot of fun. So to join the Circle of Winners, though, just text DO for Self, DO the number 4 SELF to 855-574-9099. Sister Marvelous Marva says, struggle is ordained. I need to figure out who I need to become to overcome that struggle. That's right. Let me know what you think. Let's see. Who is this? Cannabody Wellness, beautiful and powerful energy. Ramadan Kareem. Thank you so much. Let's see. Who else? Sister Alita, assalamu alaikum, says powerful discussion. Anybody else? Any other feedback you want to give me before we sign off? The idea here is that I just always want you all to take away something. I've been blessed with so much, and Allah gives me so much each and every single day, every hour of the day. And I just want to share and know that I'm helping you all take your lives to that next level, because this is all about you becoming happier, healthier, wealthier, and experiencing more love. So thank you all. Okay, if no one has any more comments, I know y'all all thirsty and hungry. For those of us who are fasting, if you're not fasting, then just have some sympathy on us. Understand that some of us might be a little hangry. We might look a little tired. We might not look our best. We looking like we barely making it. But every step of the way, we pulling and calling on Allah to get us through. Okay, so peace and blessings, family. Please make sure you support the renovation and restoration of the former home of the Most Honorable Elijah Muhammad. Go to sajdahhouse.com and purchase your commemorative Elijah coin. The finish line is right there. We're almost there. We just need your support. If you're in Chicago, pick up a Sun Times tomorrow, because we've been blessed with a full page ad. I'm going to go and grab one and hopefully show it online to you guys on social media tomorrow. But go and grab one, look for our ad, let them see that by putting us in there, it increases the sales of the newspaper. But go check it out. So we're going to be blessed to be in there. And inshallah, that ad will create the energy and touch people's hearts and get you all to purchase the commemorative coins, get you all to support us in this incredible effort. And so I said yesterday, to when I learned that we were going to have that full page ad in the Chicago Sun-Times, I just prayed to Allah and I said, Allah, you gave me this assignment. I'm so grateful And I ask that that ad and any other ads and any other thing that we say, it finds and lands on the right hearts and the right people who desire to support and help us in this incredible endeavor. So, okay, let's see. All right. Thank you, family. Love you all. And I will see you all, inshallah, tomorrow when I go live on IG with the Chicago Sun-Times, so y'all can see us with our full page ad in there. And then on Saturday, the Sajdah, Saturday morning coffee talks, where we talk about life, love, and business. All right. I'm going to see y'all on that page, sajdahhouse.com. Peace and blessings. Stay tuned for the upcoming fundraiser.